From long COVID to Bustleton Ironman, I am Beau Jones, your host, and today's episode is the Noosa recap that absolutely nobody asked for, nobody wants, etc., etc. This is done purely because if it wasn't for other people doing recaps, race reviews, word of mouth recommendation about Noosa, I myself would never have gone. So in the hope that somebody's listening, somebody's watching, will take this in and start to ponder, I wonder if I could do it, or maybe I should go and give it a nudge. This is why I have hit record on both devices. Now, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, we hope you're enjoying it. We're getting very close to the pointy end of this whole concept of from long COVID to Bustleton Ironman, as I've said twice already. Now, we are getting close to Bustleton Ironman. The nerves are real, and as a part of that, I went back and listened to episode number 1 on my drive up to Noosa, and it was cool. It was exciting. It was. I definitely had, you could hear it in my voice that I wasn't 100% well, and it was reassuring that I've moved a long way away from that. It was really nice to listen back to, to hear that vulnerability in my voice and to know that vulnerability is, the vulnerability still 100% exists within me, but I now have control of that vulnerability. I've taken action. I'm moving towards my goal weight, my goal time, and just my goals in general. So it was a really nice look back and bit of a reflection as I was heading up to Noosa for this event. Now, Noosa Triathlon is an absolutely behemoth of an event. It's a music festival. Tim Reed explained it as a triathlon therapy, as the Woodstock of events. It really is. It's just a whole weekend of events and activities and noise and just happy people, and it's overwhelming to see how many people get around it, and the support up there on course, off course, and for the whole weekend itself is really next level, and I can't recommend it enough to anybody. There's a reason why the prices for entry are so high, and there's also a reason why they sell out every year. It's one of those, you get your bang for your buck. It's really hard to explain to somebody who hasn't been before. If you're doing the, no disrespect, I absolutely love the elite energy events, but they're much smaller events, and they're also kind of held in towns where I don't know, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship with it, whereas Noosa feels like the whole town embraces the fact that we're there for the weekend. The locals around the course are happy to see you, and it's just a different vibe. It especially comes at a time of year where you're coming out of winter and you're in a bit of a grind at work, and Christmas is still just a little bit far away, and it's just a really nice pep in your step to get you through the rest of the year. So I can't recommend it highly enough. If you're listening and you're an athlete and you want to race and you want to go fast and you want an empty course, this isn't the event for you. But if you want to go and find out what At the Core Triathlon's all about, this is amazing. There's so many people. It's it's massive, and they do it well. They do it so good, and there's so many moving parts going on. There's so many different elements that you can do. You can do the relay team. So definitely if you're triathlon inclined, go and have a nudge and get around it. Now, it is one of those events that's hard for Bottle.It to do because I do wear numerous hats. I am the one of the founders of All Sorts Rec Club. We ride and run Tuesday, Thursday, swim on Tuesday nights and on the weekend. So I'll wear my hat for that. We take a large crew up, and the crew that we take up with the Kids Foundation charity entry. I did my first charity entry for the Kids Foundation over 5 years ago. I did it without knowing who or what the Kids Foundation were, just to legitimately get myself an entry to Noosa Tri. I didn't know what it was all about. Then we get up there, and you start to find out that they work with severely injured and burnt children and take them to camps, but they also do amazing learning programs and educational programs to prevent kids from hurting themselves, and to teach kids how to play safely whilst immersing them in risk, which is just from a childcare educator point of view, that's just absolutely amazing. It's underutilized by parents. It is just I can't speak highly enough of the Kids Foundation compared to a lot of the other charities up there. They do great work, but Kids Foundation runs on a shoestring budget, and in regard to the output they put back into the community and into these kids, it is it's inspirational to sit there. And as much as the event itself is a very individual event, it's so nice to know that you're giving back through your fundraising and just through supporting and getting brand awareness out there. So if you're going to do it, look at the charity heroes element of the entry at Noosa and get up there and fill your cup while filling someone else's. It definitely feels good. But let's rip into the action. Now, on the drive up, it's one of those cool things of results are just what happens along the way, and there's definitely a lot of eyes on for myself on Busso, and Noosa was just like a little bit of an entree, and it didn't matter what happened at Noosa or Busso as the end result. And as much as I said that out loud, and I was thinking that it's not the case. When you get up there and you rack your bike, you're thinking about performance, you're thinking about numbers, all the things you're told not to think about. You just rattle through your head. If I do this time on the swim and this time on the run and this time on the ride, it should be this. And for the last month, racing's easy, training's hard. For the last month, I've been really trying my best to be diligent with the training program with Clint Rollins at RPG. And compared to last year I was coming off the back of 6 weeks in America, drinking, eating, not training at all. Like I didn't ride my bike. I think I rode my bike twice before Noosa last year within the 8 weeks leading up to it. So this year there was a lot of pressure, the performance pressure this year, because I had the opposite. I had a month. Most days were tour days. Like my training volume literally times 5 of what it has ever been before. And it was one of those things where it's like, if I went out to race and I, didn't have a great race, if something went wrong or I cramped or something, and the numbers weren't the same, it would have made the last month feel totally useless. So there was anxiety around, what if I go worse than I've ever been before? What if, the program doesn't work? Or what if, there's so many, what if I get a flat? I'm using tubulars for the first time. What if I get a flat and the whole day's derailed because of a flat tire? So the head noise was real. I wasn't comforted or calmed by the amount of work I'd done. It actually increased those pre-race nerves, and I was expecting a message from Clint, or the race briefing from Clint, to be a couple of days before the event. Hey mate, work to your heart rate. Here are your numbers. Go easy through the swim. Go easy through the ride, and then see what's in the tank for the run and go hard. And that's probably the first mistake I made, was trying to preempt what your coach is going to tell you. And he kind of flipped it on its head and said, mate, go as hard as you can for the swim, go as hard as you can for the ride, work your way for the first 2Ks of that run, work your way into it, and then see what's left in the tank. And it really come as a shock. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting, like I said earlier, I was expecting a nice calm roll in and then attack the run. And to know that I had, I was told to go hard, go early. Even that brings its own pressure. I was like, righto, I've never done that before. I'm usually pretty conservative when I race. Let's go hard. And I was excited to see what was the result. Like I said, the volume's gone up, and moving into the race, swim, attack the swim. Every time I had it would look rough from the shore, I had clean water. I'd made sure I had clean water. I swam probably way wider than I needed to, but that's always something that I do just to make sure I'm useless at sighting. So I kind of get a little bit wide and then keep everyone on my left so I can keep an eye on them and hope they're sighting. And kept my form, made sure I was full reach in my swim, made sure I was touching my thigh with my thumb, and just kept my rhythm and made sure that every pull from the top to the bottom was a full stroke. I wasn't shortening anything up. I was keeping my form strong. Got out of the water and nearly fell over when I saw my time. It was 4 minutes quicker than I went last year, and put a massive grin on my face. So all of that performance anxiety was kind of falling away. I'm like, it's working. Like, whatever the last month has been, full credit to Clint. Whatever he's telling me to do, and whatever, it's been worth it. The early alarm, the swimming in the Bronte pool, like, everything's been worth it. So I literally ran up and over the beach, into transition, onto the bike, ripped through transition. Being Olympic, it's kind of cool. I don't wear socks, so my shoes were rubber banded to my bike. I just got my bike and got out of there as quick as I could. Ran 100 meters down the track, past the mounting line, just to get away from the amount of people. The volume of people on the course during this race is next level. There are speed bumps everywhere, so just try to get some space to jump on the bike. Didn't even worry about velcroing my shoes on until I think I was almost out of Noosa before I even reached down. I just got my feet in and just pushed my way through town. And I looked down and I was sitting on 41 k's an hour, moving out of town, and just, like I said, grinning. The bike was rolling well. It didn't feel like I was redlining. I was kind of calmly, I was pushing, but it was calmly and managing to kind of get in not a good pack, but a pack that was similar to the same pace, and we were able to overtake pretty safely, moving through the slower athletes that started earlier. Up Garmin Hill, same thing. The roadie kind of come into its own there. I was able to sit up comfortably, stayed in the big ring, which is something I've never been able to do up that hill, up the big ring. Kind of had a few people overtake, but you kind of get confidence out to overtaking other people. So I was kind of going around a few, get out onto the flat out in the farms, same thing, try to crank it back up to pace and get up above 35 and kind of cruise, let the tubular wheels do their work. And myself and another bloke were kind of taking turns cat and mousing and just overtaking, and he'd kind of lose me on the hill and I'd grab him on the downhill. Back into town, the wind did whip up, so my not that I had this in my head, like I didn't know my numbers in my head, I didn't know what segments were, I didn't know what was going on. This is all just looking at Strava. Now I was slower than last year coming back into town, and now that's A, because of the headwind, and B, last year I drafted hard. There was an old bloke went past me hammering and I sat on his tail and got towed the whole way back into town, so I'm not surprised that I wasn't quicker this year. Into transition, I'd probably say that second transition was slower. I can't remember what I forgot. I had to run back and grab something. I can't remember what I forgot, but I had to double back to my towel, which I wasn't stoked about, but that added a bit of time. Out onto the run. Now this is where head noise gets really noisy, and it's not just for me. This head noise hits everyone. When you hit that run leg, it's like running in a sauna. Now we're on course early compared to some of the other age group athletes in the Clydesdales, and the things that were starting to go through my head are the usual, running things that, why? You start wondering why. Like, this is so hot. How am I ever going to get through? Like, am I going to cramp if I push harder? Like, what should I do here? And, I just, are my shoes comfortable? You start thinking the worst things. And, I did kind of get a little bit negative, and the one thing that kind of kept me accountable or kept me moving was, at training we do, we either do 1K splits or we do 2K splits, and then we have a break. And that's what I really worked to. I realized that the aid stations were 2Ks apart. So I was like, okay, well, rather than just attacking the run and just doing 10K straight, take the run swim advice, the run walk advice that you're given for the marathon, and, do that if that's what you need to do to keep the load from your feet and keep yourself in a positive mind frame, or a neutral. Clint speaks about staying neutral on the run leg, do that. So that kind of settled me back down, and I calmed down, and every aid station went through, splash with water, a bit of hydrolyte, another splash with water, another mouthful of water, and out the gate start running again. And for some reason it felt really slow, like it just didn't, it kind of clicks into gear. Well, that stage of the day, you're starting to get caught by a few of the age groupers. So you've got people mowing past you. They're like 3-minute 30 pace, and it does make you feel like you're running in mud compared to those guys. The highlight of the whole thing was the whole lot of Noosa was having my family there. I've never taken them up to Noosa before. This was the first year Ali and Duke were there. Now, rather than them trying to get into the the blender that is town and trying to get to the finish line where you just can't even get close because of the volume of people, we're staying at the RACV resort. Absolutely amazing. Highly recommend it. Go stay there. It's worth every dollar. It is amazing. That's on the turnaround point of the run course, and they were just inside the turnaround point. So yeah, they were at the 4.5K mark, and it lit me up. It was the best thing ever, seen Ali and Duke out in the course and supporting, and they were having a ball. They were just down from the DJ. That DJ, I'm yet to hear anybody say they played a bad song. That was the hype you need at the 5K point. So turned around, spotted them again, gave them a big thumbs up and a big wave, and I was in the hurt locker because I knew Jamie, our run captain, was coming to, it was me versus him kind of thing to see who's better, the cycling club or the run club, and I know he can run, and he gave me a spray. He was probably a K behind me, and he gave me a spray saying, I'm coming. It made me really nervous because he looked good. And he sounded good, and I'm like, I thought I had him for all money. Like, I thought the time that I put in, I PB'd the bike by 3 minutes, PB'd my swim by 4 minutes. I'm like, that's 6 minutes ahead of, I got a 6-minute head start on what I thought he could do onto the run. So I'm like, that buys me some time. And then when I spotted him with a K behind me, I'm like, I was in that headspace where I couldn't even do the math on what he needed to run me down, but I thought he was behind me at all times. So I kind of picked myself back up. I was like, yeah, again, get to every aid station, get it, don't linger at the aid stations, get in, get out, and keep moving. Like, and I started playing over my head. What if he catches? What if he catches? What if he catches? Like, that's going to be the worst result. And, I kind of had to push that thought process out of my head, which was cool to know. This is where you get that mental strength. This is why these events are cool. When you get the mental strength to tell yourself, stop thinking that, start thinking this, it's empowering. It's the reason why it's so valuable for, life. And once you get these endurance events, or not even endurance events, once you start running, once you start telling your head what to think and when to think, you can start applying it to other areas of your life. So in that little exchange, I took some really good takeaways out of, no, don't think this, think that. Think that, stop thinking that, think this. And it did. It felt good. So I managed to, a few of the other guys from your sorts went around me, and that was cool. We gave each other a bit of a kudos. And went through the last aid station. Once I got to about 1.5, 1K, you can hear the town heaving. You can hear Pete Murray's voice. I'm not sure who the other commentator was, but it's such a good feeling. There's music playing. The people are probably 5 deep for the last 500 meters on either side of the road. You convince yourself that they're all there for you, and it is the best feeling in the world. My run splits went through the roof. I finished off strong, and it is electric. All the previous thoughts that you had for 7Ks, 8Ks of running about why you're doing it, and it's so hot, you literally evaporates. It just dissolves. You just get so happy to be there. You're running through the triathlon clubs. You run through the charity tents. You run through that same support that saw you out of town and now welcome you back into town. There's just eruptions of noise from people spotting other people they're supporting. You're overtaking people, like you've got people overtaking you. It's just this real culmination of excitement. So I get to the finish. There's 100 meters to go and there's no one in front of me. It's like I just found a space in front of me. Pete Murray, friend of the show, friend of Bottle.It, spots me a while out, put my arms out like a big plane about to land, get through the finish line, fist bump Pete, look up at the time, look down at my time to see what the difference is, like what my time was. It's a 9-minute PB. It's the quickest Olympic distance race I've ever done, and just the sheer relief of nailing a race where for the last month, like I said, I've never been up at 4 a.m. I've been doing 4 a.m. starts just to get the volume done. Everything up to that point just made sense, and literally just the biggest sigh of relief was like, it's working. Like everything's working. You're doing the work, you're getting the results. And then another couple athletes come through that I knew, and I'm like, hey boys, where's Jamie? Like, and they're like, oh, yeah, he's miles back. So even that, I was like a sigh of relief knowing that I'd got the win over Jamie, which it was a massive goal. It was nice to have that result, and then waiting for him to come across the finish line to see how his race went. Another one, I think his name was Alex from the Vipers Club at Manly. If you're listening and you're from the Vipers Club, reach out, let me know. I think it's Alex. I met him the day before, and this is why these events are so special. Like, I'm a massive ambassador. I love promoting and ambassading for all these events. He got through the finish line and spotted me and just come over and gave me the biggest hug and started crying. And I'm like, I thought he'd hurt himself. I was like, mate, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, are you okay? And he's like, how great was that? They were tears of happiness. And he's just hugging it out with me. And I was just like, this is special. This is what Noosa does. This is what events do. They provide this location for just people to prove themselves wrong. And to be able to share that moment with that guy was just immensely rewarding for no other. It was unexpected reward. I was like, this is so cool that, you talk about blokes with emotions and feelings that can't showcase them. This guy's crying in public to a bloke he only met the other day and feeling so good about it. There's not a problem with blokes not sharing and being vulnerable. It's just, we're not putting ourselves in those environments where we can do it. Like, it was such a really cool moment that, to have that. And then he's like, sweet bro. And I was like, yep, catch you at the surf club. He went and did his recovery, and then I caught up with him later for a beer, and that was really cool. And then, the endorphins to have so many people in one place just buzzing, and that buzz stuck around for 3 or 4 hours. And had the presentation with the Kids Foundation. Crowie come down, gave out the awards. You get to speak to people that it's their first race and they're already talking about the next one. And, next year I'll do this, next year I'll do that. It is so addictive, so addictive. I sat and looked at my numbers, reassured me that, all this has been worth it and all this is going to be worth it. And, Busso is going to be amazing. And, rode that high for the whole afternoon. Was able to take Ali to the surf club and share with her the celebrations that went on afterwards, and it was unreal. And like I said, it was up here. I reckon we're into the longest episode ever territory. You beauty. Now, once that, there was legitimately, we had 48 hours of family holiday left. We're up at Noosa. We had another night at Noosa and a night at Gold Coast. We're taking Dukey to Wet and Wild, and I did my best to not think about training or have a look at training peaks to see what was coming. I just want to spend some time with the family. But the come down was real. The minute we got to Wet and Wild, and even after Wet and Wild, I'm sitting there at a friend's house and having a barbecue and having a couple beers, and I'm like, this is great. It's important that I do this, and it's I have to do this with my wife and son. We're on holidays. I haven't seen these friends in over 3 years, and it felt nice. But in the back, man's like, Busso, you've got Busso. You should be swimming, or you should go get a massage. What can you do for Busso? So I struggled with that, and then the next day I had to drive home. So I had a 9-hour drive home on my own, listening to podcasts about mental health, listening to podcasts about triathlons, and I managed to build myself up to this huge state of anxiety and this massive post-event come down. I was up here and I knew what was happening thanks to the mental health work Bottle.It do. I knew I was on this hard come down. And I wrote it out. I was like, sweet, let's see what's making you nervous, what pops into head, what's giving you the most anxiety, what's giving you the most stress. And usually it's I'm not sure. Usually it's running or riding, or I haven't done this, haven't done that. But the program that I'm on with, this is the values of having a coach, is that I knew I was okay. I knew that I had a plan of attack, and I knew for the next month there was things that were going to be in the calendar that were going to help me, mitigate what's going to happen at Bustleton. So it was an interesting come down, and that usually you get nervous before an event about I have to do a 4K swim, 180K ride, and then a marathon. I wasn't phased about that. I really wasn't. Like, I trust in Clint, I trust in RPG, I trust in the process. Thanks to the result at Noosa, I trust in what's happening. And I trust in my ability now to get up and do the training. But just the anxiety surrounding flying to Perth, and financially, the financial one's a huge one. I always jump on the financial one. I think I'm like every other human, where even if I had $1 million in the bank account, I'd still be as anxious about money or stressed about money as you are with zero in the bank account. So yeah, I did. I got really busy in the head yesterday, and I was nervously smiling, because I know that you need to ride that lightning. I know when you have anxiety, or when you have this noisy head, that there's a reason. There's obviously a reason that's happening, and I think you need to ride that out, because change is coming, or it gives you an opportunity to. I knew that when I got home, I kind of rang Ali and didn't tell her, I didn't ring her and tell her, hey, I got head noise. I just wanted to hear a familiar voice, and okay, yep, I want to get home. I'm going to do this. And then even this morning, woke up, forced myself to go ride with the All Sorts. And the first thing I did, Ali asked me if it was okay when I walked back in, because I was a bit quiet. And here's the tip, here's the hot tip for this episode. I know I've run long. I couldn't move any of that out of my head until I had a pen and paper. And as soon as I sat down with a pen and paper and wrote down what I needed to do, similar to the way the training plan mitigates my performance anxiety, I need to write down what's on my to-do list. Today's my Bottle.It day to do this podcast. I know this podcast is 5 days late because I'm on holiday. I will push out another one on Sunday. I've got to do the podcast. I've got to return emails. I've got to check the status update on the fractal hats. I've got to go pick up the budgie smugglers. I've got so many things to do for Bottle.It. Write them all down, and then work out in priority form if I do it in the AM or the PM, or what order of attack, or how can I multitask to do a few things at once, and was able to move half of that stress to what needed to be done for Bottle.It and get on top of it really early, get on top of it before 9 AM. The second half was personal. Okay, well, what do you need to do for your planning for the next month with Ali to make sure that that's okay? And what do you need to do financial planning to make sure that you're not stressed about the money over and, but all these different things. And the minute I sat and physically put them on paper, no word of a lie, it moves it from your head to that paper. It's now that paper's problem, and you can work your way out of it with a pen and paper. So, like I said, if you've ever got stuff going on in your head, it's write it out, move it physically from your head to a piece of paper. Plan your way through anxiety. Strategies, not anxieties. We absolutely love that here. Now we go again. We start again. It's that was the entree. We've got the main coming up. Time to fire back up. I know the next 3 weeks of training are going to be absolutely immense. I've already had a peek at the next 2 weeks, and there are things. I'll come back to those first couple of episodes. One of the first couple of episodes was control the controllables. At this stage, what's really hard to control is the TT bike, road bike conundrum. I have a road bike. It's a fast road bike. There's nothing wrong with that road bike. Is it a TT? No. Do I have a TT? No. Is it financially viable to go and buy a frame and move that on there? No. That's not the situation at the moment. That might change in the next couple of weeks. That might change, and I haven't given up hope on that changing. However, I can't control that. And there's a few things I can control that I'll be working towards, but I can't lose time. I can't lose training time waiting for a TT bike. I can't wait, miss out on opportunities with work or with different things because I'm waiting for something to happen. So I'm after it. We go after it on the roadie. I just deal with it on the roadie, and if I have to do bus on the roadie, I'll do bus on the roadie. I'm not too mad about that. It'd be fairly comfortable. I don't know if there's enough time to get comfortable on a TT. We'll figure that out. But the things I can control is what needs to be done in the next couple of days. Get through the next couple of days, and then eyes up, go again. So we are fired up. Got the result at Noosa, which was very exciting to nail that. I was keen to share that. The numbers come in, everything's working. The scales are on the down. Yeah, alcohol free for a month. Did switch off and have some alcohol at the surf club and on holidays. I'm not going to sit here and say I was sober the whole time. It was well earned, and now the grog goes back on the shelf until Busso. I still want to cover an episode which might be in 2 episodes time. I might do the alcohol chat about how it changed my life and how it's something that moving forward it's going to have to continue to be mitigated, because it's good stuff. I know I've said that in the last 4 or 5 episodes that I'm going to get to the alcohol episode, but it's coming thanks to our good friends at Capital Brewing. They're on board. But again, I've gone over time. This is way longer than I thought it was going to be, but again, recap. Noosa, absolutely amazing event. If you're looking for something to put on your calendar, it's in 12 months time. Make a family trip of it. Queensland's a great destination. Get Noosa done. Kids Foundation, I strongly recommend following them on Instagram, supporting financially if you can. If not this year, next year, I'll be doing the exact same thing. I love the program. I love the Kids Foundation. I'll be helping them. Paddy Mac, I swam with. I didn't cover that. The swim was great fun. Thank you, Paddy Mac. Race support was amazing. Write your anxieties down. Strategies, not anxieties. Come downs happen. Write them out. Let's get it done. We go again. Now, the next episode is going to be done Sunday afternoon after my long run. I'll be buzzing on endorphins. Today, I'm buzzing on a long black. Sunday, I'll be buzzing on endorphins. I look forward to sharing that episode. The volume is going to go up. I think we've got 13 hours, 14 hours of training to get through before you see me on the next episode. So looking forward to it. Thank you for following. Again, the support for YouTube, the support for the numbers on the podcast are insane. So thank you. Whether you're listening or watching, thank you. It's like I said, I'm doing this for myself. It's not easy to sit in front of the camera and the mic and do this each week, but hopefully it took one or two people to inspire me. Noosa was the event that made me start my pursuit to go on longer, to go on further. Without Noosa, I wouldn't have done the Ironman. Hopefully there's somebody listening that's listening to this and that fire start inside of them. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm here to fire you up. Let's go. Nobody's going to do it but you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on Sunday.